Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today's Tuesday, November the 9th, and I found myself with the day off from work, so figured what better way to kick things off than do a video for everyone so y'all can be entertained and I can be entertained making the thing. Well, we're going to title today's video of kind of two titles. What happens when senior staff doesn't have the backs of the corrections officers that they supervise? And what happens when senior staff takes the inmate sides improperly? Give a little backstory, as I always like to do on these. There are times when offenders do have legitimate grievances. If they're denied things that they have a legal right to have, their mail, medical, necessities that are provided by the state, which in Seg was every week they would get a roll of toilet paper, 5 little bitty green bars of soap, like almost like the little soap bars you get in the hotel room. Like, break one of those in half, and that counted as 2. And depending on their classification, a razor. They might be given the razor to keep in the cell. Other times, out on the wall, the razors were kept there. You give the guy his razor, he was supposed to shave. We were supposed to go back and get it from him, and they didn't always give it back willingly. There were times we had to get creative with how to get it back from them. But anyway, back on the topic. So, what kind of a situation are we talking about here? One of the worst things that, and this goes with any industry, let's say a plumber and his assistant show up to your house and they're there to, say, replace the inner guts of your toilet. And one says, we need to do it like this. No, we need to do it like this. And they start arguing with each other. Well, you don't know what you're doing. No, why are you even here? It's going to make the homeowner pretty leery about, well, which one of these guys is right? What's going on with it? It shouldn't be done. It should be professional. And they should know what they're doing. And it's the same way with corrections officers. COs should never bicker and get into it with each other inside of the inmates. Does it happen? All the fucking time. Yes, it does. The right times for that would either be in the parking lot, in the turnout room, maybe in the pat down area, basically places that offenders didn't have eyes to. Because when they saw that shit take place, here comes the manipulation. And there were 2 ways they were going to do it. They were either just going to be turds and yell and scream and holler, fuck you guys, y'all hate each other, y'all can't work together, or they were going to turn on the charm. Boss man, Mr. Carter, come on over here. Hey, look, man, that guy you working with, man, he a hoe ass. He doing all kinds of things that you don't know about. Man, he passes out letters to us. He takes shit from us. I heard him talking about you. Anything. Just any kind of, and what they were trying to do was drive a wedge between us. Anything that they could do to make our day difficult, they got over on that. One of my viewers asked, do the inmates get irritated when they do things that disrupt their day? For instance, we're passing out food trays and the offender sticks his arm out the food slot and stops me from moving, and the guy beside him, now he has to wait to get his food. You would think that they would probably police their own. Like, he's going to start yelling at the inmate, hey, get your arm back in, man, you're holding up my food. No. Everything was the CO's fault. They would start yelling at me that I need to do my job properly, get control of this, get him his tray, and go from there. So as far as them using any kind of convict code to police each other, no, they were all together when it came to getting over on us. And that's the topic of today's story. One of the earlier videos that I did, I talked about this CO that I worked with early on in my career. He was this fat, nasty, just piece of trash from New York. How he got to Texas, I don't know. I guess he got lost on his way to California. Dude always needed a shave. Had this big, ugly mustache that was never in regs. The regs for the mustache for us, it wasn't supposed to touch the the top of the nose, not below the corner of the mouth, or not below the bottom of the mouth, and not extend past the corners of the lips. That's probably changed. That's how it was in 2013. It was very militant style. It wasn't meant to be a big, bushy, ugly stash, and that's what this dude wore. Greasy hair, always out of place. Guy never took his uniform to laundry. It just looked like he just, I don't know, threw it in the dryer and put the thing on. Boots were never shined. Just a poor example of a CO. And the only reason, I guarantee you, the only reason he made it through the academy and was there is because the state needs people in uniform to stand watch. And anybody with a living, breathing pulse that can get through it, they'll put them through. If they last a day, hey, whatever. The state tried. This dude was a perfect example of that. And I'm not being a screenshot warrior. I'd say the same thing to this cat if he was sitting right here beside me. We just did not get along with each other. I'm not going to brag on myself, but I was the antithesis of this guy. I always had my hair militant cut, always shaved, uniform, always went to the laundry, shined boots. If I couldn't get the inmate to do it, I did it myself. I looked decent in uniform, the way you were supposed to. I don't know if Raymond put us together, Lieutenant Raymond put us together out of necessity, or if he was hoping maybe I could motivate the guy, but we just didn't work well at all. And this was the morning that we took over the dorm. I don't remember what pod we were in. I said dorm. I'm sorry, that's improper. Dorm was a whole separate entity in Styles. I'll do a video about the dorms. They were rock and roll. So I don't remember exactly which pod we were in. I think we might have been in D pod that day. I seem to work D pod a lot. And night shift had had a tough time. They hadn't been able to finish passing out the breakfast trays. Day shift, we were responsible for passing out lunch and dinner trays. They left us with a full cart of breakfast trays. So he and I are trying to figure this out. We called for supervisor support. Supervisors pretty much told us go fuck ourselves. And when I say supervisors, it was Raymond and Jones. It was Jones that came over the radio. And yeah, it went from there on that. So we were already having a rough morning. Inmates at that point typically were still asleep when we came on. We were ready to bang on the doors, wake them up, see who wanted to go to rec, who wanted to go to chow. Well, at this point, these guys are hanging off the freaking cell doors like monkeys hanging onto bars, just beating on doors, banging, hollering, concert hall, and here it is, like 6:37 in the morning. We're done and turn out at 6:30. Man, they were as fired up at that time as they would have been at lunchtime. Not what you want to hear that fucking early in the morning. So we're trying to figure out these breakfast trays, and we start arguing with each other. We're kind of bickering a little bit. He tells me I should know what to do. I did not work on night shift on OJT. Should have known how the breakfast trays work. Guy starts coming at me first. I'm still kind of, wiping the cobwebs out, waking up, ready to get going. So we argue with each other. And the inmates just absolutely eat that shit up. They knew we didn't like each other, and it fed through the day. And the whole day was just miserable. Absolutely miserable. There wasn't one inmate that we went to take out of the cell that didn't try to buck us in some kind of way. I don't know what they were all pissed off at, but they were taking it out on me and this piece of shit. So that leads up to where senior staff can really, make or break a situation. Policy for us moving around these guys, when we take them out of the cells and put them in the day room, they were supposed to get 2 hours in the day room. We pull them out of the day room, and then they were supposed to get 10 minutes. We take them back to the cell, let them get their shower stuff, soap, towel, whatever. Put them in the shower. They're supposed to get 10 minutes in the shower, pull them out, and go from there. Now, those times were very, very relative. Sometimes the shower could be 15 minutes. Sometimes it could be 7 or 8 minutes. depending on if we had a guy in a day room somewhere and we got pulled out to do something, as was the norm. Offenders didn't care if they were stuck in the day room forever. They had the room to move around in. Man, they just run around and make noise. What they didn't like getting stuck in was the shower. The shower was the size of just about any kind of shower stall in any kind of house. It was a concrete room, and it had a door that slammed shut. It had a food slot, but we didn't really. Yes, yes. We used the food slot because we had to cuff and take their clothes and everything from them to take them in and out of the shower door. And it also had a hatch up here by the face that opened up. Most of those hatches were broken off. It was just an open area. And there was a light inside the thing. And they pushed the button and the water would come on. I don't know how long it would spray, 10, 15 seconds. They had to continually keep pushing the button to get the water to come on. So I don't know if it was hot. I never tested it. I just know that that's what they used it for. So on this particular day, we had taken this guy out of the day room, put him in his cell, and we were getting ready to take him to the shower. All right. Normally when they went to the shower, they wouldn't even bring their jumper. They just wore their slippers, their boxer shorts. They had their towel thrown over their shoulder. Shower was just down the walkway. Cells 1 through 8. And then a shower door at the end of it. So we're getting ready to take this guy out, and he's got his jacket on. We had the same kind of state issue jacket that the inmates did. It was green, real poofy. We call it the squirrel skin jacket. And he squats down, puts his hand behind his back, put the handcuffs on him, freaking roll the door, and there he's standing there with his jacket on. Well, I slammed the door. Hey, you got to take that jacket off. And dude's like, hey man, fuck that. Roll this door. Let's just get him in the shower. And he pushes the button, yells at the picket boss, roll the cell door, door rolls. I should have stuck to my guns and said, nope, he's not going anywhere with that jacket. But by this point, it was just a miserable day, whatever. Let's just get through this. Guy comes out, freaking put our hand on him, start walking with him. We put him in the shower. He goes on to doing what he's doing. And no sooner do we put him in that freaking shower, here comes the dinner cart. Oh, fuck. All right. I said, look, let's go check on the dinner cart, make sure it's plugged in. We'll come back and get this guy. So we go down. We start looking at the dinner cart, looking at the trays, making sure all's good. And because the place had been so riled up, word gets up to senior leadership. How? I don't know. Maybe it was from the cameras. Maybe Jones said something. But the wardens would typically make rounds of the area. I don't know what they did during the day. There was a main warden over the facility. There was an assistant warden over general population. There was an assistant warden over segregation. Then the majors and all that fell down from there. This assistant warden that was over segregation was a Nigerian guy. TDCJ has some kind of a program. I don't know what I don't even know how it works, but there are a lot of Nigerian officers, at least in 2013, that worked there. I'm not sure what the program was or how it brought them over here, but they were a very big predominant portion of the staff. Unfortunately, there were a lot of language barriers. They spoke English, but that doesn't mean it was understandable English. Working with some of those guys, sometimes we had to kind of hand signal and write things down with each other. It could be difficult. And this warden, man, he was one of the hardest guys to understand. Don't know his name, just know he's very difficult to understand. So he comes in, and as soon as he comes in, man, normally when the wardens came in, depending on the reputation that they had, the place would get a little bit more quieter, a little bit more respectful. Everybody wanted to see the warden. They all wanted him to come to his cell, plead their case to him, get a story out to him, and let it roll from there. From what I experienced there, the wardens did not have the freaking COs back at all. The few times that I actually spoke with one, they were cold, they were harsh, almost calculating in a way. Calculating on that they had the inmates' backs. And you had to really watch what you said if you were anywhere around the admin area with those trustees, the SSIs working around there. You said anything of value that they could use, I guarantee it went back to that warden's office. And they were trying to do anything that they could to get over on us and make themselves look favorably. So this warden comes in, and the place, it had already been erupting all day. And it erupts even more. What in the world? What the hell is going on? And this particular shower was the closest one to the door that the warden had come in. And this guy's banging on the door, beating, hollering, and the warden comes over where we are at the food cart and points up to him and in his horrible accent, "Hey, how long has he been in the shower?" "We just put him in there, warden. Probably." Looked down at I didn't wear it on my wrist. I took my wristwatch and I wore it on my belt loop because of the long sleeve shirts that we had. Looked down at my watch. I said, "Warden, he probably only been in there 7 or 8 minutes. Well, he's getting pretty close to his time, isn't he?" "Yes, sir, he is. The tray cart came in just as soon as he came in. We wanted to make sure it was plugged in, the temperature was right." I'm feeding him all kinds of policy shit. So he goes up the stairs, goes down the tier. I don't know what words were exchanged between the inmate and the warden, but we were getting ready to start feeding trays. I had the tray cart out. We're getting ready to start putting trays in, and the warden yells down, Hey, y'all gonna take him out of the shower anytime?" "Warden, he says he's been in here for almost an hour." "That's not true, warden. And I had my paperwork with me. We'd write down the times that we would put him in." I pulled out the paperwork, held it up to him. "But warden, I got the time written down right here." "He's saying that's not right." And in my mind, I was ready to explode. Like, you realize he might be lying to you, right? As I'm standing there looking at, "Oh, another thing. What's he doing with his jacket in here? Is that proper? We supposed to move him around with all their jackets and everything?" I remember the words of this day. I'm like, "You freaking turd." And I looked over at the guy I was working with, and he's like, "Man, you should have told him not to come out with that jacket on." What? Dude, I say a lot of times, that was the closest I come to quitting. I had started to turn, like I was getting ready to walk toward the door, and had picket boss open it up and let me out of there. I was like, "You know what, man? I'm done. I can't do this anymore." I'd walked over to the picket and stuck my head in the slot. I don't remember who it was in there. Like, "Hey, man, you mind I switch out with you?" "Yeah." Comes in, we do our switch out. I get in the picket. He goes out. They go up. Warden still standing there at the shower. I don't know what was being said. I'm sure the guy was saying all kinds of shit. We go up the stair. They go up the stairs. Press the button. I press the button for the shower door. Shower door pops open. Cool. Guy comes out and he's just laughing, hooting, whatever. They put him back in his cell and get ready to start feeding trays. Warden comes down the area, like, sticks his head in. "Just remember, 10 minutes in that shower." I didn't say nothing to the guy. Not a thing in the world. I looked back away from him, looked back at the panel, and just looked out at the area like I was getting ready to do something. He gets to the door, bangs on the door. I had control of the door. Bangs on the door. I ignored him for a second. Bangs on the door again. "Hey, you gonna open up the door?" Press the button. Door opens. Door slams. Cool. Goes on from there. Man, that was a miserable day. Most of them were, but this one particularly was there. And that's just one example of what can happen when you don't have each other's backs, and the inmates just make it that much worse. I know some of these videos sound overly dramatic, melodramatic, neurotic, as one viewer said. These are the true stories, folks. These incidents happened in real life, and I'm telling them just exactly as it is. If they weren't really dramatic like this, I don't think that they would be very entertaining. Hey, I went to work, moved inmates around, and I went home. No, nobody wants to hear that. I think you guys enjoy some of the stories that are like this, and there is still a lot more to come. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for checking out these videos. Hope you enjoyed the content here for today. If you did, help me out. This makes me a YouTuber. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. I got plenty more stories to tell for here. If you guys liked it, tell me what you did like. If you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like. Everyone take care of yourselves. Stay safe. I'll see y'all in the next video.